is actually really dangerous! Whoa! Looks like my walking sticks have a mind of their own!
Flipping Death is the very quirky puzzle platformer that the developers were kind enough to send me a press key to check out. And this is an interesting one. You play as Penny over there, who after dying has somehow fallen, I guess both figuratively and literally, if you've seen the opening, into the role of death in her very weird and wacky town, full of people such as the supervillain Pokeman, who walks around poking people with his super powerful finger, and other weirdos like that. But what goes from being a fun temp job turns into a grand mystery, as somebody is inhabiting her now dead body, and it's up to her to keep the ghost happy, figure out what's going on with her body, and of course explore both the life and death versions of her area. The game itself is played through chapters, all taking place within the same chunk of land. But different people will be around, and each person has their own personality and kind of like a power that you can activate using the right analog stick. As Penny, you'll transition between the life and death versions of the town for puzzle solving and to talk to various ghosts like this person right here. Now, in terms of gameplay, each chapter has a set of objectives for you to go after, as well as bonus ones, very similar to the strange stuff we saw in the game Stacked, or Stacking by Double Fine. But the idea here is that in the death version of the town, you're going to pick up various ghost currency. And you can also throw your scythe to teleport around, but you use the currency to essentially possess someone, as you can see right here, to move around in the real world. And puzzle solving will usually revolve around you doing something with the correct person in that area. And again, if I say anything, it will spoil things. Now, with that said, the puzzles of Flipping Death are a bit on the crazy side. And it goes for the insane logic of, one crazy thing on one side of town will affect another thing, which affects another thing, and somehow everything comes together and you solve the case, or you move on. Now, one thing the game does that I like is that if you do get stuck, it features a set of hints. There are basically pictures in order of what you should be doing, but it's kept specific enough that you have a good idea of what the game wants, but not so specific that it just tells you, go here, do this, solve the puzzle. Now, a major part of Flipping Death is definitely the story. The voice acting is pretty crazy and over the top, and every character is very much a over the top or very personable character, I guess. And that definitely plays not only with the voice acting, but with crazy cutscenes like this. Now, with that said, Flipping Death isn't that hard to play. There's no real penalty of death, well, no pun intended there, or really any way to fail the game. There are some very weird, I don't know if I would call them mini-games, but side activities that go about with each chapter. Besides hunting the various characters, or those ghost things that you see, you can also be attacked. And getting hurt simply drops your most basic currency. But if you run out, you can just keep getting hit. Besides that, there's also little vignettes, such as being chased by a various creature that you need to get to a specific point, or avoiding an enemy like you're going to see right here. But really, it just kind of feels, I don't know if I would say it feels tacked on, but it just kind of feels like a way of padding out each chapter. And these bonus activities, in terms of having to collect the special resources or being chased around, they do factor into the main chapter objectives. In whatever insane way that the game plays out, you will have to make use of it. And I will say I did have to rely on the hidden system just due to how crazy the game, the solutions are. Now, one thing that I didn't say I also want to compliment the developers on is the art style. It has like that 90s, like almost like a Nickelodeon or Nicktoon kind of look to it. And the fact that the game is very funny as well. Again, the humor may not be for everybody, but I really enjoyed this, and it reminds me almost kind of like a Tim Burton animated series or animated movie from back in the day. But there really isn't too much to say about Flipping Death. The only other issue that I had is that it can be a little slow sometimes getting characters from one point to the other, and there's also the issue that there are physics-related puzzles where you have to move an object from one point to another, and the physics can get a little bit funky, especially with things that don't necessarily roll. And if you could just pick it up or have like an actual dedicated move option or push, it would go a long way towards making things easier. But with that said, Flipping Death is a very unique and quirky game. And if you're looking for something that will be a bit of a brain teaser but without any real penalty of failure, or a funny game to kill an afternoon, again no pun intended, I would say give this one a check. I know it's available on the consoles and on PC as well. But with that said, I think we'll wrap things up here because again, anything that I'm showing you is kind of spoiling things. But I would like to thank developers for giving me a press key to check this one out. And if you're working on your own game that you'd like me to look at in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch. But once again, this has been Flipping Death, and check back for more discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Till our next video, have a good day. Before we get to the credits, just a quick shout out to the supporters over on patreon.com/GWBycer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check back for our regular streaming, most nights at 9:30, 10 EST, and you'll find a schedule linked down below. For a collection of my writings as well as audio casts on design, you'll find that at game-wisdom.com. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at GWBycer. If you're interested in hanging out and talking about game design topics, we have a Discord channel with the basic tier open to everybody, and that is linked down below as well. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, it is at patreon.com/GWBycer. Your support can help to keep things going and growing, and you can earn rewards such as ad-free versions of our talks, votings for our specific Let's Plays and grab bag streams, and more. But that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. I hope you come back for more great discussions on design here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games.